Sometimes my weekly Uncopyable Business videos just write themselves. This week I'm perusing through the social media stuff and just checking out what the conversations are, and I come across this little post on LinkedIn from a guy named Fred Spada, or Spada, I imagine it's Spada, who is president of Crown Custodial Incorporated, where he talks about what he considers to be a bad CEO. See, he's referring to, he talks about having a problem with the sales rep for a company called Walter E. Nelson. They're in the janitorial supply industry. And I don't, he apparently emailed the CEO of Walter E. Nelson complaining that he was not getting returned phone calls from his sales rep. Now I haven't seen that email, so I don't know how he phrased it. I don't know how he wrote it or anything like that. This is just what he posted on the internet. But here's the response that he got from Mike Nelson, the CEO of Walter E. Nelson. I'm posting the whole response for you to look at. And let's take a look at this thing, because I think the question to ask yourself is, how do you feel about this response from this CEO? And I'd really like to know your reaction to this, because I'm just going to kind of put it out there. All right. So he says, Fred, your message is filled with negatives. Really? Filled with them? Okay. You have thrown everybody under the bus. Again, everybody? Thrown everybody under the bus. See, questioning the salesperson, is that throwing everybody under the bus, all right? This next statement, the best way to vote is with your pocketbook. Now, we all know that from a customer's perspective, that the best way to vote is with their pocketbook. But what message is this CEO sending to this guy? And then he goes on, and he says, we're not set up to deal with small orders. Most of our customers are big businesses and stuff like that. But then he says 99.9% of our customers don't even see our place. I don't even know where that came from, why he's even talking about that. Because they're set up to receive their orders automatic or through online with the salesperson's involvement. So, all right. So the question is, what do you think about this guy's response? Do you think that that's a bad response? Frankly, yes, I think it's a bad response. I think it's a terrible response, as a matter of fact. Regardless of whether Fred's company is small potatoes to Walter E. Nelson, it's really irrelevant. Whether he is a small company right now to them, maybe too small for them to be working with, it's irrelevant. It's somebody who wants to buy from Walter E. Nelson. Now, if he doesn't fit the profile of their target market, that's all well and good. And Walter E. Nelson can talk with them and say, you know what, we really aren't set up to handle you in a way that would be good for either of us, for you or for us. So here's our recommendation, is to go work with this company, okay? But the tone of this response, of course, just sounds awful to me. It just really sounds awful. I would be embarrassed if I were somebody working with Walter E. Nelson right now, and feel like why is our CEO being so abrupt, being turning around and just attacking this guy with this language? Now, like I said, I have not seen the email that Fred sent to him, but anyway, it's this is where it is. Now, contrast this with yesterday. When I found this yesterday, I also found this other post on LinkedIn from Sydney Dunn, who is the business development manager for the South Carolina fleet at General Motors. Okay, and she talks about how General Motors is trying to be really, really strong at customer-centric attitudes, right? About looking at it from the customer's perspective. And they have a whiteboard where they are listing things like, what has not just killed, but what has badly hurt some industries or killed some companies. She said they have on there, Amazon didn't kill the retail industry. They did it to themselves with bad customer service, on down through, about Blockbuster, Netflix killing Blockbuster, or Uber impacting taxis, Apple, redoing the music industry, Airbnb with the hotel industry, stuff like that. Okay, and each one of these she gets into. She talks about ridiculously late fees, the taxi situation, and those, but and then finishes it by saying technology by itself is not the real disruptor. Well, really, none of these have anything to do with technology. They all have to do with the customer. And she goes on to say, being non-customer concentric is the biggest threat to any business. So whether we agree with this or not, that General Motors is actually practicing this is not the point. But the point is that if we compare this attitude towards the attitude of the Walter E. Nelson CEO, which attitude is the one that our company should take? So my question to you is, what is your comment about this? How do you feel about how the CEO at Walter E. Nelson handled this? Did he mishandle this? Was he completely, obviously he's within his right to be able to say anything he wants, but should he have said it this way? And how would you respond to him if you had received this type of a response? So let me know. Okay, let's get into a conversation about this. Tell me how you feel about this type of response. What should he have done? What shouldn't he? What else could he have done to handle it better? And let's talk about it. Okay, this is Steve Miller, better known as Callie's dad and marketing gunslinger. Thanks for joining me again for another one of my weekly Uncopyable Business programs. And I will be back again next week with another one. Thanks again for joining me, and always remember, be uncopyable.